Good morning. Happy Saturday to you all. And I have to apologize. For some reason, I told myself that I did my 100 days of purpose yesterday. And I realized this morning I hadn't. So we're going to pick up where we left off. What I was going to talk about yesterday and today we're going to push back for a few days, which was the cycle of fear. But I do want to talk to you for the next few days about uh how to have clarity in the midst of uncertainty. um and I've been saying this a lot lately because of what the world is going through. A lot of things are uncertain. We have a new president, we have some old issues that are coming back alive. We have racism, we have, you know, God, people losing their jobs, people have lost their lives, people have lost their loved ones. You know, children have been out of school and now they're trying to get them back in school. You know, companies have had some fallen on some hard times and they're trying to build themselves back up. And so there's a lot of stuff going on. And when you are in uncertainty, you're naturally drawn outside of yourself. You feel like you have to find the answers and they can't come from within you. You can't find them within yourself. And so that gives us a feeling of desperation, right? That gives us anxiety. And it really feeds our fear. And so you can kind of see how everything that I'm going to be talking about over these next 2 days, and then going into the cycle of fear and talking about fear for the next few days after that, you're going to see how all of this really works out and pans in together, even for those that are trying to discover their purpose and trying to discover their reason for living and trying to see how they fit into the bigger picture. We all face anxiety and we get desperate, right? And once we get desperate, right, that will often begin to bring us into the unknown. We start imagining things. We start thinking about things that could happen. We start thinking about the what ifs, right? And our inner pressure builds, pushing us to hurry up and find a way to get us back to certainty, to get us back to what we consider our norm. Many of us have experienced a life full of good times and bad times, and even some abuse. You know, I was talking with a friend earlier today, and I was kind of making light of abusive situations in my life, but and I thought about it because I knew that I was going to talk about this today. And there are so many things that we just say, oh, well, that's all I know. That's how we grew up and we didn't know any better, or they didn't know any better. And we try to make excuses for them, or we try to make excuses for ourselves because it's all we know. It's all we are familiar with. And we gravitate towards that. We want to get back to that norm. When people are in abusive situations, many times I've dealt with at the Women's Center in Stockton, California, for those of you that might be listening from somewhere else. And when you go through the training, they tell you that, you know, women that have been abused will go back to their abuser time and time again, before they get to the point where they realize, oh, wait, this is not good. I gotta leave. And sometimes we are in abusive situations, whether it's abuse to us or abuse from us. We're in abusive situations and we keep gravitating back to that thing because that's all we know. And I wanted to spend a little bit of time there. And I know I probably stepped on some toes, and some people are thinking, no, this insensitive witch, I cannot believe that she is talking about this. but I wanted to give us something that we can understand. And, even though we may not have experienced abuse, whether it's sexual abuse, um, financial abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, um, physical abuse, we might not have experienced it ourselves. We know someone that has, or we've seen it enough and heard about it enough that we all understand that that isn't good and we should get out of it. However, most times we keep going back to it because that's all we know. And there are things in our lives, whether it's abuse or not, there are things in our life, good, bad, or indifferent. We keep gravitating back to it because it's all we know, because we don't want to face the uncertainty. We don't want to face the thing that is going to change us, right? We don't know what's around the bend. So we keep staying where we are and we remain stuck. So we've had these experiences, and then, like I said, it's all we know. It's all we know. Good, bad, indifferent, ugly, abusive. It's all we know. And so when something happens in our lives that we feel, so wait a minute, something has to change. When we get to that point where something has to give, right? Something has to break. We realize that the life we have known, the life that we consider normal, the life that we consider certain, has reached a point that we have to embrace the uncertainty. We have to embrace the unknown. So then we are filled with anxiety about the uncertainty of what's ahead of us. We're filled with despair. We're filled with this feeling that paralyzes us and stumps us and makes us feel stuck in the moment, makes us feel like we're not moving. And one of a good friend of mine, well, she don't know it yet, but she's a good friend of mine. I've claimed her. So Kim, get ready. She was saying she was feeling stuck, and it was revealed to her, she's a spiritual being. So she, speaking to God, and she was like, I'm stuck. And he's like, but the world is still going. And I said, look at the clouds. If you're standing still and you look up in the sky, you can actually see the clouds moving. So even though you're standing still and not moving, you can see the clouds moving in the sky. And she said, you know what, Linda, you're right. And so I'm saying that to you. We are in uncertain times and we may feel stuck and paralyzed because we need to make a change. We need to do something different. We need to do something that's unknown and uncertain to us. However, even though we're not moving forward and embracing the time is still moving forward. So are we really stuck? Or are we stagnant? Okay, so let me move on. Because I got a lot to go through. I'm going to I got like a few pages here, and I'm probably only going to get to this one page, and then tomorrow we'll finish it up. How about that? Okay, so listen, we find ourselves questioning things, right? The things that we've known. And I also had a conversation with the same friend today. And actually it was yesterday, and I was talking about when I was a child and how I would always ask these questions. I was an inquisitive child. I was just on everybody's nerve because I wanted to know, right? And many people have said about me, and they still say that I'm wise beyond my years. And I think it's because I ask so many questions, and that's probably why I am a good coach, because coaching requires you to listen, to ask those deep probing questions, to get people talking, and then you listen to what they're not saying. You hear what they're saying, but you listen to what they're not saying. And that's what makes a coach a a help in the time of need, because we help you say what you can't say because you're talking around it, right? And so as a child, I was very inquisitive and I would ask questions. And so we get into that mode when we get into these uncertain things and we know that a change needs to occur in our lives. We start questioning everything, right? I get on my nerves sometimes because I'll ask myself a whole bunch of questions and I just don't have the answer to it. And so I'm looking for answers on the outside of me. I'm looking for people to bring me answers. I'm looking for my mentors to bring me answers. I'm looking for even God. I'm like, look, God, can you? I said a prayer last night. Can you help this person? Because, look, something's going on here. I need you to speak to them. Of course, I was joking, but still, I look to God for answers. I look to nature for answers. I look to, books that I've read. I go to people that I feel are wise. I'm looking for these answers. I'm Googling it. Man, Google, Alexa. I shouldn't say that because my phone might click on. But I'm like, help me with something. I got Alexas all around me, and I said Alexa, and Alexa's ready to do something. She's like, ask the question, I got the answer. But sometimes Google and Alexa and Siri and all these Katuras and these, all these Katanas, all these people, all these things that we have, these AIs don't have the answers, and they confuse us even more. I was reading an article earlier today, and the lady said she went to Google to ask, am I a lesbian? Because she had fell in love with a woman for the first time, and she had never done that before. She wasn't the woman that would be like, hey, I had a crush on such and such, or I had a crush on this one. She wasn't that knowing. And so when she fell in love for the first time with the woman, she was like, am I lesbian? Google, let me go Google it. We do that when we're coming to, and I know some of my Christian friends is like, oh, she done backslid, she going to hell. You know what? It's not me. It's her life. She told her story, and I'm just reporting what she said. So hate me or don't hate me, I'm still going to be me, because I am inclusive. And I believe people are people. Boom, there it is. And guess what? At the end of the day, all my little Christian friends, for God so loved the world. She's in the world. All right. Anyway. All right. Because I can feel y'all judging me right now. So we find ourselves questioning things we have known to be true. We find ourselves asking the hard questions, right? And we do things we would not normally do to find the answer. Why? Because we're desperate. I'm writing a chapter in an anthology, and I'm talking about some very bad behaviors that I've had in the past. And in understanding and coming to the conclusion to write this, it was one, going back to God said, expose yourself or I will. So I can't allow my story not to be told in my own words, because God will allow it to be told. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I had to tell the story, but I'm a writer, right? I've written my life story, at least book one of my life story. I'm working on book two. I got book three coming out. And so when I started writing this anthology, I questioned myself because I wanted to write about something that I hadn't already written about, that I didn't feel like I've exhausted it, right? People know I was molested. People know that I grew up in an abusive home. People know that I've experienced hatred and bitterness anger and rage, and I was a fighter, and they know these things. I talk about it all the time, but I wanted to talk about something that maybe I've told a few people, but I haven't really told the masses, and I haven't really explored it to that transforming moment, right? So now it's time for me to look on the inside of me and find what is my story that needs to be told in this moment, right? And so we start questioning what we know to be true. We start doing things we wouldn't normally do. Um, and Google's always there to help us out. Google's always there. But sometimes Google can't help us. And we can't believe that we are thinking what we're thinking because it's so out of our normal thought process. It's so out of who we think we are, who we try to present to the world. One of my favorite lines I say all the time is from Low Down Dirty Shame. And it was Jada Pickett. And she was talking to, I can't remember the girl's name, but I think her real name is Sarah, something like that. But anyway, Richardson is her name. But she's there and she's this beautiful chick. And, Jada Pickett, I think her thing was precious. And she likes shame, right? And this woman is enticing shame. She's sexy. She's this, she's that. And Jada Pickett says my favorite line in the whole wide world. I use it all the time. And some people know the reference and some people don't. But I'm telling you where the reference comes from. She says, I can see through all that Maybelline, right? We have some people in our lives that can see through the thing that we try to present to people. We try to present ourselves in a way to people, and they can see through our Maybelline. They can see through what we are not saying. They can see who we truly are. They can see us broken. They can see us in need. They can see us unsure. And we try to present, I'm all done up. A lady was talking to me and she's like, I've been seeing you out there. You got all them photo shoots going on and this, that, and the other. I said, girl, that's an app. I'm pulling off on myself. I said, that's an app. I do that stuff. I take a picture. I can take a picture of me with no makeup on and put it in this app and do whatever I want to do. We see Instagram. We know people that are Instagram famous because they done Photoshop their pictures. We see it all the time. Everybody got an app. So, but it was funny that she said that, and now I'm talking about this today because we put this front in front of people, right? We have our mask on, and sometimes we got to take that mask off, and we got to question ourselves if we're going to truly discover who we are and truly discover our purpose and truly discover how to be intentional and strategic with our lives, and who are we really called to serve, and who are we really supposed to help, and where do we fit into this big world, right? What is our grasp in this world? Then we have got to ask those hard questions, and we've got to be willing to make the changes. We've got to be okay with being uncertain. And it's okay to start to question why am I thinking this way? Why am I doing this? Why am I here in this realm? Why now? Why am I not further down the road? Why haven't I grown up? Why haven't I achieved the things that I want to achieve in my life? Why didn't I finish school? Why didn't I marry the guy? Why didn't I go here? Why didn't I have the child when I was 23 and now I'm trying to have it at 43? We have to question ourselves. We have to discover who we are. So here we go looking for answers outside of ourselves. But in most cases, the answers are within us. And so I'm going to leave it there because I want to really explore that answers being on the inside of us. And I don't have time because remember, I'm trying to keep it to a certain amount of time and my time is almost up. So we're going to leave it there and I'm going to pick it back up tomorrow. And we're going to stay with this until I finish it. And then we'll go into our cycle of fear and we'll do all of that. But you're going to understand, I think, a whole lot better. And it to me, it's just divine providence that I did leave my notes and I couldn't go into the order that I wanted to go into because I believe that this is important. How do you get clarity in the midst of an uncertainty? You go searching for it outside of you, and that may not be where you're going to find it. I'm not saying all the time you won't find it outside of you, but most of the time, the answers that you're looking for are already on the inside of you. They're already there. They were placed there for you to uncover and discover. But we don't want to do that because that's the hard work. To ask the questions and to sit in the moment and wait for the answer. We live in a microwave generation. We want it now. You know, we want instant gratification, overnight success, overnight riches. We don't want to work hard for it. We don't want to put in the time. We don't want to put in the effort. You know, a friend of mine makes popcorn the old fashioned way. I'm like, just get some popcorn, put it 2 minutes, 30 seconds in the microwave. What are you doing? You're going through this whole production. But sometimes going through the whole production is the best way. So we're going to pick up with that thought process. I want to leave you with that, and we're going to pick up there tomorrow. Listen, you have a wonderful Saturday. I've been up since 3:45 and been to the gym, had breakfast, about to, I don't know, go Dave and Buster or something, go out and have some fun. Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend. Happy Memorial Day. Remember those that have given their lives for your freedoms, freedoms that we're still fighting for. But remember those that have laid down their lives, those that have paved the way. Regardless of the color of their skin, there have been some wonderful people in this world that stood up and asked a question. And their question was, why not? If I'm African American, if I'm Black, why can't I be equal? If I'm a woman, why can't I make just as much as a man? Why can't I vote? You know, if I'm Asian, why can't I have the same rights as any other American? If I'm Hispanic, why can't I have the same rights? Right? Someone stood up and asked the question and began a journey into the unknown to see if Martin Luther King's dream could come true. If we could one day walk side by side, if we could truly be the land of the free and home of the brave, if we could really be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. People have given their lives to hold these truths there where we can grasp them and realize them and have them manifest in our lifetime. And we're still fighting for it. So this Memorial Day, let's truly give time to remember those that laid down their lives for our freedom. I am Coach Linda, and as I always say, I'm out.